afternoon. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. What's going on, Jim?
Oh, not much, Steve. It's good to be back. Just for let the listeners know, I'll probably only be doing the show every other Saturday. I had work responsibilities I need to take care of once I get it straightened out. So they understand my priority will be Veterans in Politics, so it'll only be every other Saturday.
Yeah, I got to keep finding a co-host for you, Jim.
Well, yeah, I know I'm kind of hard to replace, so I apologize.
I know, and it's hard, you know. How could I replace you? I can't.
Yeah.
Well, before we go into a rant, first I like to take a few seconds to express our condolence to the family and friends of David Wallace. David Wallace was a state Senate candidate. He was running on a Democratic ticket, and he passed away Thursday night of a massive heart attack. David was 47 years old. He was a law enforcement officer. He was called the preacher man on 88.1. He did a show there. He was a true leader in our community, and he's going to be sincerely missed. So on behalf of the Veterans in Politics, International Veterans in Politics talk show, we just like to say, David, rest in peace, and I'm sure you're going to be watching over us. And their guests are going to be today is going to be Michael Haines, who is a congressional candidate for District 2. He's running as an independent. And we're also going to have David Vanderbeek, who's an independent American Party candidate, and he's running for U.S. Senate. So we got that out the way. Jim, so what's going on? Tell me about your rants.
Well, actually, typically I don't really have an actual rant, so to speak. It's just kind of like a public service announcement or whatever. Just whatever's on my mind. But, yeah, actually today I really do have a rant. And I want to make sure that before I say this that the rant I'm getting ready to say is not it's not an endorsement one way or the other. It has nothing to do with Veterans in Politics. It's actual my own personal belief. I just watching the news, and I was told by my late father I need to quit watching the news so much because it gets me all worked up. But yeah, this president, and he's commander-in-chief, okay? But yeah, this guy's got to go. I mean, it just I just can't say it any clearer than that. When you look at, he talks about the deficit. He's actually increased the deficit more in 3.5 years than his 43 predecessors. And now, I don't, as far as the gay marriage thing goes, you know what? Hey, whatever makes you happy is fine with me, as long as you don't hurt me. But my thing with that is he had an evolving position. And now all of a sudden, right before the election, now all of a sudden he's for a gay marriage. And it's, it's just one of those things where, this guy, he doesn't say what he means ever. We all understand politics is politics, and it's a struggle for power, and this guy's trying to get reelected, and that's fine. But when you talk about moral issues like this, and you just come out with an absolute ridiculous argument like this, saying that now all of a sudden he's for a gay marriage. And on top of that, he's going to cut 22,000 active Marines, 77,000 out of the Army. He wants to cut 2 naval fleets. And for what? The fact is that the best defense is a good offense. And, this guy's just all over the place. He makes this argument that he inherited the worst depression since FDR. Well, you know what? He did. Let's be honest. Bush did not do a great job with the economy. But you have to hold yourself accountable at some point in your life. And if you're a true leader, you hold yourself accountable. And you say, you know what, I've made these mistakes and this is what we're going to do to fix it. He doesn't do that. He blames the Congress. This guy has not been able to get a budget passed through the Senate in 3 years. Bill Clinton, in his first year in office, and everybody thought this guy was a joke when he came in office, he was able to get a budget passed. And you know what? That budget that he got passed, everybody thought, oh, this will never work. Well, it actually created the biggest economic boom that we've ever had. I mean, when Bill Clinton turned over his presidency to George Bush, there was a surplus. That has never happened in the history of this country. He didn't cry about, oh, well, a Bush Sr. left me this horrible economy, and, well, I can't do anything about it. No, you know what? He bucked up. He did what he had to do. He listened to his advisors. He took accountability, and he passed a budget. This guy still has not been able to pass a budget. Honestly, he just needs to go. And I don't want to take too much time away from our guests, but this is, like I said, this is not anything to do with veterans and politics. It's my personal opinion. If you do not vote this guy out of office, shame on you, and I feel really bad for the guy that's going to take over in 4 years and have to clean up an 8-year mess that this man has created. So that's my rant there, Steve.
Well, that's a big, long one. Well,
yeah, usually I don't rant that much, but I'm a little worked up today.
I was on 88.1 on Friday. I was on the Raymond Savoy show talking about President Obama's statement on gay marriage.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I don't have a problem with gays marrying each other, because I don't want to be in somebody's way of who they can love or can't love.
Right.
But I do have a problem with don't ask, don't tell. And I remember Derek Washington was on the other side of the spectrum with this, and he says, yes, don't ask, don't tell should be allowed in the military, and it should be repealed, blah, blah, blah. And I told him to shut up.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because he's never served. And I am tired of politicians that never served in the military is going to tell the military how to do stuff. That's like somebody lost their child, and I'm going to tell them I know their pain.
Right.
I don't know their pain.
No.
So if I have no experience being in the military, how dare I to propose any kind of legislation to dictate how the military should be or shouldn't be, when I have no experience wearing that uniform at all?
Agree.
And it's just like these combat veterans coming back with post-traumatic stress disorder, and some people are turning their backs on them. Do they know what it's like to kill people? No. Do they know what it's like to run away from fire or running for your life, or thinking about your wife or your loved one or your kids in your head, and knowing that your life could be ended in that split second? No. So who are they to tell us, being in the military, how to run things when they don't have no experience at all? So for all you politicians out there that are listening, if you have no experience in the military, shut up.
Either that, or here's the thing that I've always believed on that one. Because I've never served in the military. So if I was president, God help us, but if I was ever president,
could I be a VP?
Oh, absolutely. But it would be, like we hear it all the time. Well, I'm going to listen to the generals. I'm going to listen to the commanders. You know what? That's what you should do.
Yeah, when we had General Buck Bedard here. And,
what a great guy he was.
And you saw how he just did not want to comment on that, the don't ask, don't tell, because he knows the military should not be used as some kind of experimental tool.
It's not a social experiment.
And something I even brought up, I said, we have co-ed barracks for a reason, because, guys and women are attracted to each other.
Right.
So if we have guys attracted to guys and women attracted to women, should we have co-eds for them as well?
That's a deep question, but yeah,
and shouldn't we? You know, yeah. And then Derek brought up the fact: what about prisons? How are you going to compare the prison system with the doggone military?
Well, that's good. He's never served, so he don't know.
You know, but anyways, that's my rant. And you know what? My rant to your rant.
Right.
Before we even continue, I just want to let everybody know that the Veterans in Politics is doing a Meet the Candidate on May 26th, which is a Saturday, week after next, at the Blue Fire Barbecue Grill located on South Durango from 6 to 9, and I'm sure we'll provide more information as that day come closer. So let's take a commercial break. Jim, unless you got something else?
No, I'm good.
Let's take a commercial break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to have Michael Haines, who is the congressional candidate for Nevada's 2nd District, and he's running as an independent.
Are you a business owner struggling during these economic times? Please listen up. How would you like to put your business and services in front of every resident and business in the Las Vegas Valley for less than a penny per home? Yes, that's right. I said less than 1 cent per home and business. And how would you like to have a dynamic and exciting online presence with the major search engines? How about an online video for your business and a fully optimized website with absolutely no setup fee? Hi, my name is George. If you are interested in these and other services that can make your phone ring with clients and prospects, then call me at 702-296-8394. Just call George at 702-296-8394. Thank you.
My name is Sean Havlin, United States Army 1st Ranger Battalion. I've been wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'm supporting Kenneth Wegner for Congress. Ken is an Army veteran who was wounded in the First Gulf War, and his son is fighting in Afghanistan. When you go to WegnerForCongress.com, you will see that he is the only candidate running for Congress who refuses all money from lobbyists, PACs, and special interest groups. Like Ken, I believe our government needs to take the leash off our soldiers or bring them home and place them on our borders to help win the war on drugs. In Iraq, we used foreign-made equipment. Now, who do you think will make a better product to help protect our soldiers? Foreign factories or American factories? Kenneth Wegner's right. All government contracts should be made in the USA, creating jobs for our economy. To prove that Rangers lead the way, I am donating $500 to Kenneth Wegner. You too can make a difference. Donate what you can. Tell your friends. Get involved.
I'm Colonel Ed Bridges, United States Air Force retired. I'm supporting Kenneth Wegner.
I'm Sergeant Matt Penny, a former recon Marine.
This is Dick Marcinko, Commander of the United States Navy, founder of SEAL Team 6 and Red Cell. I'm an American. I'm for Ken Wegner.
My name's Kenneth Wegner, and I authorize this message.
Hello, my fellow Nevadans. Are you tired of listening to the same old rhetoric from politicians? I know I am. And that's why I'm running for Congress in Nevada's 4th District as a conservative. I'm Sidney Zeller, a retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel and veteran of 3 wars. I'm a proven leader and a man of honor, integrity, and character. My focus is on bringing economic prosperity to the 4th District. For more information on my positions, please visit my Facebook and website, SidZellerForCongress.com, paid for by Sid Zeller for Congress.
Hello, my name is Steve Sanson. I'm the president of Veterans in Politics International. This country and state are in trouble with budget cuts, unemployment, foreclosures, teacher shortage, dropout rates, terrorism, and a loss of military service members. The outcome of this election will profoundly affect families, both military and non-military. Military men and women are dying for other countries to have the right to vote. As a former member of the United States Marine Corps and the Army, I know how important it is to keep the voters informed. Log on to the website veteransinpolitics.com. All Americans of voting age need to not only vote, but research your choices. The Veterans in Politics organization has taken a proactive approach to supporting candidates who will have the courage to protect all of our freedoms and our Constitution. Visit our website at veteransinpolitics.com. Don't just talk about who you support. Research your choices and vote.
All right, we are back. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. We have Michael Haines on the line, who is a congressional candidate for Nevada's 2nd District, running as an independent. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Steve?
All right, Mike, could you give us a quick bio about yourself?
Well, as far as political, I'm an independent candidate because I don't serve any parties or any political special interest groups. I'm a working class citizen. I'm a business owner. I'm a franchise owner for SCA Appraisals in the Sacramento division as well as Reno. I'm one of the people that are trying to get out there to make everybody understand that, you know, if you want to clean out Congress, you're going to have to clean out the Democrats and Republicans. I mean, the problem is the Democrats and Republicans are the problem. They are the reason why we're having this economical meltdown. And a lot of people are telling me, when I ran in 2010 against Harry Reid for the United States Senate seat, everybody was telling me the same thing. And, you know, they're telling me, you know, we need to clean out Congress and start again. Well, now's your opportunity to do that. A lot of people out there in the Reno area, Carson City, and everybody in Congressional District 2 have that opportunity now. And a lot of people, if they're willing to stand up for what's right and they want to clean out Congress and they want to put real people in there that are for the people and from the people and from the Constitution and for the Constitution, then vote for me this November. I'm already on the ballot. I don't need to go through a primary. We're out there trying to reach out and touch the people now so we can let them know that they do have a third choice instead of a Democrat or Republican or having to be stuck to have to vote for the lesser of the two evils.
What kind of qualifications do you have to become a congressman, Mike?
Well, I'm not a career politician. If that's what it's qualified, and a lot of people have asked me that question. I mean, qualifications-wise, I'm a business owner. I know how to create business. You know, I got a degree. I've studied law. I know what's right from wrong. I mean, who out there, if you can really ask yourself that question, how do you be a professional congressman? Can you? Is it a profession? Do you have to have experience to be a congressman? I don't believe so. Our founding fathers weren't experienced politicians. In fact, they weren't even politicians. They were real working class people like you and me. And I believe that the United States deserves that, and I think what's going on in my campaign right now, our slogan is Operation Cleanup, and what we need to do is we need to start cleaning out Washington and putting new people in there, knocking out all these lifelong politicians that live off the system for the rest of their lives. You know, they're not there as public servants. They're there as public employees, and that's what they do for a living. So I believe in term limits for everybody, but unfortunately the Constitution only allows term limits for governors, and they only allow term limits for presidents. But I think we need to move in a more forward direction, Steve. I think it's very important. We need to put people in Congress that know what it's like to struggle. We need to put people out there that are people persons and willing to stand out there and listen to somebody for a change instead of talk at them. They need to listen. They need to open their ears and their eyes and keep their mouth shut.
So, Michael, just to play devil's advocate, Steve asked you what your qualifications are, and you did a good job of explaining what's wrong with the politicians that are in there, and you talked briefly about your background, but so what specifically are you going to do if elected to Congress? What are you going to do to change all these problems that you see happening?
Yeah, to answer your question, first of all, you got to understand, as one person, it's like taking a knife to a gunfight. Okay, what you got to do is you've got to go there and you've got to look around you and you've got to keep your eyes and ears open. You got to see how it runs first. I mean, I can't run into Washington and say, all right, everybody, I'm here. Everybody's going to have to do what I want to do, and this is how this is going to happen. You know, that's like you'll be running right into a buzzsaw. You don't need to do that. You're going to actually hurt Congressional District 2 if you run in there and start running your mouth and telling everybody this is how it's going to be. You got to take a low approach at this. You can't just jump right into the middle of oncoming traffic. You're going to get squashed. So what you need to do is go in there and look around you. You know, you've got to learn what it's about, especially, you know, nobody out there are professional career politicians at the beginning. Everybody got to go in there. Everyone has to go in, just like yourself. If you got elected to Congress, you have to go in there and you have to know what goes on around you.
So Michael, excuse me, not to interrupt you, but I mean, basically you're saying that your argument is the reason why you should be elected to Congress is because you're not a career politician, and now you're actually making the case that you're going to have to become a politician before you can make the case to put forth the changes you want to make.
No, I don't. I don't want to be a politician. I'm not a politician, and that's
then why are you running for political office?
because I want to see a change. Nothing's going on with the political parties we got going on right now. We need a real change, and if we're not going to do that by changing from Democrat to Republican, because you're going to have the same problem.
Mike, President Obama used that same terminology about change, and the only change I've seen is that we change to get worse. So what kind of?
I couldn't agree more.
So you're using the word. Hold on a second. You're using the word change. How would you say, Jim?
Well, you're basically using the word change, but you're saying, okay, we should change to independent rather than he wanted to change everybody back to Democrat. So you see where we're going?
Yeah, that's the difference. I want to put real people in there.
Okay, but I got your argument about putting real people in there, and I got your argument about getting rid of the two major parties, and I have your argument about term limits. But what are you going to do for the American people? How are you going to make their lives better? How are you going to end unemployment? How are you going to put end illegal immigration to come into our country? How are you going to end police just killing people? How are you going to end PTSD? How are you going to end our military coming back in the chaotic state that they are? I want to know what you're going to do as a congressman.
What I'm going to do is, you're giving me like about 10 different ideas or 10 different challenges at one time. Let's take one challenge at a time, starting with Congressional District 2. You remember the old saying, Steve, if you're going to conquer the neighborhood, you got to conquer your backyard first. Okay? Steve E2 is my number one, is going to be my number one priority at first. We need to create jobs. We need to bring jobs not only to Congressional District 2, but we need to bring jobs to Nevada. There's a lot of good plans and a lot of solutions out there.
All right, let me stop you right there. How are you going to do that?
Well, you got to put things on the Congress floor. You got to present it to Congress. You got to get
Okay, let me stop you right there. What are you going to present to Congress? What are you going to put on the floor? Because I just hear all this talk, but I don't hear any real solutions. What exactly are you going to do? Pretend you're on the Congress floor right now. How are you going to convince them to bring jobs to Nevada and Congressional District 2? Go.
How am I going to do that? Well, first of all, they got to understand what our economy is like here in Nevada. We are like the number 2 state in the nation right now.
They know that. They know that the economy sucks here in Nevada. How are you going to bring jobs here?
Well,
what's your plan?
How are we going to? Please, simple. What I want to do is present something on the floor to say, listen, what we can do is if we're going to bring jobs here to Nevada, that's what our number one intention of doing that, to bring jobs here in Nevada. What we need to do is we need to give them something to appeal them to want to come to Nevada.
Okay? What? What are you giving them? You're still not giving me anything concrete, Mike.
Well,
you're just talking.
Steve. I mean, you interrupted me here, man.
All right, go ahead. I've been listening to you, but I haven't heard anything that would make me want to go and vote for you.
Okay, well, here, how about this, for instance? I go in there and I put something on the Congress floor to say, listen, why don't we give every business, brand new business that comes to Nevada, let's give them a tax break. Maybe 3 months of federal income tax free. What that's going to do is it's going to entice companies to want to come and bring their jobs to Nevada. They're going to get 3 to maybe 6 months of income tax free, so they can use that to start a business. And what we can do is not only we can do that to oncoming businesses here in Nevada to bring them to Nevada, but we can also help the mom and pops out there in Nevada as well. And in order to do that, what that 6 months or 3 months or whatever we give the businesses, the income tax free, and what it will do is it'll give them the opportunity to, number one, buy permits, upkeep on the buildings, buy supplies, hire employees, provide them with a fair medical, health care plan if they wish to do that, and get the businesses started. And after 6 months, then we start charging their taxes. Another way Nevada can make money is on minerals. You realize in the state of Nevada, we put out billions of dollars a month in minerals like gold, silver, all the stuff that goes out of the state. We don't even charge 1 single % of tax.
So, Mike,
why don't we do that?
You want to tie it? So you're in Northern Nevada, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Reno.
Okay, you're in Reno. You honestly think that you're going to get the mining industry to actually own up and pay their fair share of taxes?
No, we're going to charge a tax that's going out of state. So if somebody out of the state line wants to buy taxes or wants to buy minerals, they're going to pay tax on it. The mineral company's not going to pay taxes on it because they're going to give that to the state. You see what I'm saying? Even if we were to charge maybe 1 or 2%, a lot of people I'm bringing these up. A lot of people are bringing these up that I speak to. I go to body shops throughout the entire all of Reno and all over the entire northern district. And they all say that. Michael, we're putting out like $3 billion a month in minerals, and yet we're not charging the people who buy the minerals. We're not charging them tax. I said, you're kidding me. He said, no. Harry Reid and a couple of the other ones out there are making it so we don't charge any tax at all on any minerals that leave Nevada.
But Mike, so if we were to do that, and I understand where you're coming from, it's
that would generate money for the state.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. It's revenue producing, so I understand that. My thing is that we're talking about trying to bring business into Nevada. Now, at the same time, if we start taxing other states that are purchasing our minerals, don't you think that's going to make them less enticed to purchase from us, and maybe they'll go to another state?
Are there a lot of other states out there that are competitive with Nevada? Isn't Nevada the number one mining state in the nation?
I believe it is. I'm just asking.
Okay, so
you got that threshold. So what's the threshold there?
Well, it's not really much of a threshold. Well, I'm not saying charge them 25 or 30% and grab them by the neck. I'm saying maybe how about 1 or 2%? Something. And a lot of people are saying that when I'm out there talking to them. Okay. This is the people talking to you through me.
Good.
This is the people that are saying, why don't we do this? Why can't we do that? Well, I'll look into it and I'll see what I can do. I'm not, like I said, I don't have the answer to every question. And it all comes in time. But as long as, you know what's right from wrong, you understand what's politically or constitutionally correct, you go in there with the right frame of mind. My whole intention of going in there is to serve the people, to do what's right. Yes, I want to bring jobs to the state of Nevada. Yes, I want to bring jobs to this country. Yes, I want to see our borders more secure. Yes, I want to see our troops out of harm's way. But we need to defend our country. Absolutely, I'm for the military. I've always been for the military all my life, and Steve knows that because we've spoken before. He knows who I am. He knows what I'm all about. He knows that I care for the people. He knows that I'm there for the people, and he knows I'm not there for any political special interest groups or any interest at all. I've been like about 3 or 4 different meet and greets right now, and let me tell you something. Mark Amaday's not there. He doesn't have time to go there and meet the people. So that goes to show you what kind of congressman we got right now. He's too busy in Washington than to be down here and speak to the people and have to listen to their concerns. Not that time yet, I guess, according to him, and that's fine. He doesn't need to be to any of these. As long as I'm there, in my mind, I'm there shaking everybody's hand, and I'm there trying to put it in their mind that, you know what, I'm going there with heart, I'm going there with desire, I'm going there with a good attitude, and I'm going there to try to do what's right for the people. Okay? That's all you can say. That's all you can do. So you're either going to elect me or don't elect me. That's up to you. But the bottom line is, I'm going there for the people. I'm not going there for no party, and I'm not going there for any special interest.
So, Mike, I'm just going to give you a real softball question here. I know I've given you kind of a hard time, so I'm just going to give you a real softball here.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's what it's about. Because you know what? It's going to be a lot worse if I go to Washington. But you know what? The thicker the skin I have, the stronger I am emotionally and for what's right, the better off I'll be, and the better congressman I'll be able to serve everybody here in Nevada.
So my softball question to you is, why are you not a Republican or a Democrat? I mean, because it would be, let me finish the question. It would be a lot easier on you if you were affiliated with one of the two parties, especially when it comes to fundraising. And I know we don't like to say it, but let's be honest. Money makes politics. You have to have a lot of money to run these campaigns. So why are you going as an independent?
Because
and how are you going to raise enough money to win?
You know what? I've raised over $2,000 right now. I know it's not a lot, but you know what? It's $2,000 that I didn't have, and it's $2,000 that the people feel that are going on with that feel that they have faith in me. We've got a thing going called the $1 Walk to Washington. We're asking everybody to just give me $1. That's all it is. What do you believe in? You go to my website, www.michaellhaines.com. GoToGovernment.com. Go there and see the issues. That's a donated website that somebody did for me because they know that they believe in me and they know what's right. Because I ran in 2010 against Harry Reid and Sharon Angle in that mess. But why am I not running as a Republican or Democrat? Because if I do, then everybody's going to categorize me as a politician. You go around the state, and you really do. You talk to, especially the seniors. You talk to them, and they say, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, they're both. I'm voting for the lesser of the two evils. I don't want people to have to vote for me because they're voting for the lesser of two evils. Because I'm not evil. I'm a good-hearted American. I work hard for a living, and I'm a good person. Why I'm going there is because, like I said, our founding fathers weren't politicians, and they did a pretty damn good job before the politician was born in the 1800s. And over the last 50 years, we've been, both parties, and I'm saying both, have been politically responsible for this economical meltdown, and I think for certain that we need to change. Am I conservative? Yes, I am. But I'm not a Republican, I'm not a party member, and I don't go that way because I don't feel that it's in the best interest of this country. And that's my feeling and my opinion, just like you say. But you know what? I am a conservative. I'm a little bit more in the middle and centrist type conservative, and I'm willing to go each way just a little bit. I'm not an extreme right-winger. I'm definitely not a liberal. But I will tell you this much. We need change. And you notice that I never said hope.
Right.
Steve,
okay,
I never said hope,
Mike.
did I?
I'm not trying to catch up, but we're running short on time. I just really want to thank you for coming on the show. I know some of the questions were kind of tough, but hey, you know what? I like your response to that. If you're going to go to Washington, you're going to need some thick skin. So we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, Mike, could you give us your contact information?
Yeah, we're going to do that right now. Everybody that wants to, if you guys want to go to join me on the $1 walk to Washington, mail $1. That's it. $1 check to Haines, Haines, for U.S. Congress, Post Office Box 18826, Reno, Nevada 89511, and my website is www.michaelhaines.com. That's Michael L., which is my middle initial is Lee, Haines, Haines.com.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for being on the show. We really appreciate you. That's Michael Haines, a congressional candidate that's running on an independent ticket for District 2. We'd like to thank you for coming on the show. And don't go away, folks. We'll be back momentarily with David Vanderbeek, who is an independent American Party candidate for United States Senate. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. Did you see the press release Veterans in Politics sent out in support of Clark County District Court Judge Alicia Kadish to the federal bench?
Yes, in 2008, Veterans in Politics endorsed 22 judicial candidates in the primary. Only 4 candidates did not become a judge. This was the same year they endorsed District Court Judge Alicia Kadish. Judge Kadish was one of the 18 of their endorsed recipients that is a sitting judge today.
Yeah, they take pride in their selection of candidates, especially when it comes to our judges. Judges are the first line of defense, and they immediately impact our daily lives.
I wonder if anybody knows that Judge Kadish was appointed to the district court seat by former Republican Governor Jim Gibbons to replace former district court judge Joe Bonaventure.
Yeah, as a jurist, Judge Kadish consistently demonstrates fairness, impartiality, and a dedication to upholding the law, regardless of whether she agrees with it. She follows the law and not legislates from the bench, which is what Republicans look for in a jurist.
Yeah, it is ironic, to say the least, that Republican U.S. Senator Dean Heller is now blocking Judge Kadish's federal judicial nomination because she insisted on following the law.
Yeah, what he is using is a questionnaire Judge Kadish filled out in May 2008 from the group Citizens of Responsible Government. They asked Judge Kadish a question concerning the Second Amendment. The question they ask is, do you believe the individual citizen has a constitutional right to keep and bear arms?
I remember that. Kadish responded, I do not believe that there is this constitutional right, but I believe that reasonable restrictions may be imposed on gun ownership in the interest of public safety. Of course, I will enforce the laws as they exist as a judge.
That was a correct statement of law at the time. Individual citizens did not have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Reasonable restrictions could be imposed on gun ownership in the interest of public safety. Therefore, Judge Kadish's response demonstrated that she was well-versed and knowledgeable in this important area of the law. Moreover, she indicated she would enforce the law as they exist. In other words, Judge Kadish not only understood the law, but affirmed she would apply it regardless of her personal opinion.
Yeah, later the law changed. In District of Columbia versus Heller and McDonald versus City of Chicago, the United States Supreme Court held that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess firearms and that this right is fundamental and fully applicable to the states through incorporation in the 14th Amendment.
I remember that. After the Heller and McDonald decisions, Judge Kadish again confirmed that she would be bound by the law, not a personal opinion, and as such, if asked the same question today, she would respond, I believe that there is a constitutional right for individuals to keep and bear arms, and I would make clear that I would faithfully apply the binding precedent on the issue starting with the Heller and McDonald decisions, if faced with an issue regarding these important Second Amendment rights.
It sounds like, in both responses, Judge Kadish confirmed her commitment to upholding the law.
Yeah, now, in a sadly transparent attempt at political pandering that needlessly deepens the partisan divides that already paralyzes our federal government, Senator Heller has blocked Judge Kadish's congressional confirmation. And ironically, he is now forced to justify his position by arguing that when asked about the individual right to bear arms, Judge Kadish should have assumed activist robes and held that contrary to law. Such a right did, in fact, exist. In other words, Senator Heller must attempt to argue with a straight face that Judge Kadish is not qualified to be a federal judge because she understands the law and will uphold it.
Unfortunately, U.S. Senator Heller is not just sacrificing his own credibility among voters and true conservatives, but is selfishly denying his own constituents the benefits of a qualified, accomplished, universally respected federal judge. And that's what truly is disappointing.
Well, veterans and politics members believe in the Constitution and the right to bear arms. A majority of their membership has concealed carry weapons permits. I don't believe that they would endorse Judge Kadish in 2008 if they believed that she was against gun ownership.
Really? I don't understand how a freshman-appointed U.S. Senator could stop a federal appointment from a majority whip, elected U.S. Senator and the President of the United States.
Well, I know Judge Kadish should not be used as a political pawn to gain conservative votes on falsehoods. Judge Kadish's appointment should be allowed to move forward.
Please contact U.S. Senator Dean Heller's office at 702-388-6501 and ask him to let the appointment of Judge Kadish move forward to the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee.
We're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas of Veterans in Politics. We have David Lory Vanderbeek, who's an independent American Party candidate for United States Senate representing Nevada. David, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me out.
Thanks for coming all the way from Pahrump.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Jim loves Pahrump.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he loves it. Loves it out there.
Favorite place.
He likes the heat and the wind and the breeze.
Little expensive, but other than that, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway. I love it. It's a great place to live. It gets cooler at night. It's a nice little valley, plenty of space, and it's very nice.
Clear blue skies are out there, right?
Oh, starry nights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I can tell you a little bit about myself on both sides of my family. My ancestors in the Wadsworth line helped settle the state of Nevada. They settled Lincoln County. So we've been here longer than Nevada's been a state. I'm a sixth-generation Nevadan. I graduated from Lincoln County High School, played football up there and ran track. And our children, Amy and I have 5 children.
Are you Mormon?
I'm LDS, that's right. Yeah, Mormon.
Jim is LDS. I told you he was LDS.
Yeah, you can ask me anything on that. I would say, since you brought it up, I would say that I'm definitely...
So you're going to be supporting Mitt Romney then, right?
Absolutely not.
Well, wait, you have to. You're LDS, right?
Well, that's the way people tend to think of us as a monolith. But
then you'd have to support Harry Reid too, right?
Absolutely not. No, or Dean Heller for that matter. Right. He's also LDS. If you look at our scripture, since you brought it up, they say specifically that the Constitution is a divine document. So each one of these politicians that you have noted that would frequently endorse violating the Constitution is not following their own religion.
So wait a minute. The LDS religion saying the Constitution is a divine document?
Yeah, it says...
I thought you're not supposed to mix... church and state.
That is not the doctrine of church and state. The actual document or doctrine that Jefferson was explaining is that the government can make no laws that prescribe religion, but he never says that, for example, that churches, that was never the intent of that, to say that churches can endorse candidates or have political positions. What the federal government does now is they provide a 501c3 tax status to churches, and if they accept that, then they fall under the onus of government where they can't endorse candidates or they'll have their tax status revoked. So that isn't true at all. Churches were always intended to influence government and influence politics. That is not the meaning at all of the separation of church and state. So I would just correct you on that.
Okay.
So David, one of the things that I have to say that I really have always liked about independent American Party candidates is you guys are so well versed in the Constitution, and every time I listen to one of the IAP candidates, I always feel like I'm being educated in some way. But one of the problems with that lies with I'm someone who they call me a pollywog. Like, I'm really interested in government, how it works, and all that stuff. And I just feel like the average American doesn't really do that. They're not really that interested in. So how are you going to really engage the average voter to get them to understand why it's so important to vote for you?
Well, this is a really fair and important question, but it has to do with the bigger picture of American society. What we understand is that we have a society that's been asleep. America's a great place. It's a great country filled with great people, period. End of story. But we've been prosperous and we've been sleepy. And in that course, you've had Democrats and Republicans at the federal level that have done whatever they wanted. Okay. Now, the American people are not holding them accountable yet, but you can see that process. Now, I am a supporter of Ron Paul, and what Ron Paul's supporters do is that they have engaged the process, and that's why they took over the state convention here, and they've done that in other states. We don't even know the end result of that upheaval of Ron Paul supporters. He gets 10,000 people at a crowd. Obama can't even fill a basketball court of people, or Mitt Romney can't get 150 out. So we know that the polls, and this is the other thing, that you're talking about perception in the media. The media is always distorted.
Could I stop you right there, David? Because that part I don't understand.
Yeah.
If Ron Paul, to change the subject, if Ron Paul gets so many supporters, how come he's not the GOP nominee?
Well, that's what I would like to know. I would like to know why he all of a sudden won Iowa when he was in third place to begin with. How did that happen? Elections are stolen. You got electronic voter fraud. You've got
illegal immigrants.
Well, you've got dead people voting.
They don't vote.
There was a guy that went to Washington, D.C. and got Eric Holder's ballot recently. So there's a lot of shenanigans in the voting process. But what's great about this awakening of the American people is that they will take more control of the process itself and get involved. I think that's awesome. I think it's wonderful. Now, to answer your question, you say, well, why? What's it going to take to engage people? I think the American people will become more engaged in our message, and you see that. You see the Republican Party, the Tea Party, gravitating more to what our platform has always been. And so as they suffer, I think as they suffer enough, when they suffer enough, they'll go back to the principles that made this the greatest nation on earth, and that's the Constitution, the free market. So David, my next question for you is, like I already talked about, we're talking a little bit about philosophy. Yeah.
But I'm looking here at your trifold, and it's fascinating. But again, I'm somebody that's really, truly interested in politics.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if you handed this to just the average American, they would just toss it away. They don't have time to read all this.
If that's the case, then they deserve whatever they get.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something.
But
if
you need to get elected, though. But you
if
need to get
people won't
elected,
invest the
David.
time, then they don't deserve it. I mean, it's that simple. Freedom. Okay, you're telling me somebody won't invest 20 minutes to read a pamphlet and they deserve to be free? That's ridiculous.
I agree with you.
Yeah, or those people that don't go vote.
Okay, if you're saying the truth,
I agree with you, David.
If that's true, and that's the average American, then the average American doesn't deserve what they have.
But how are you going to take that average American and get them? Again, we're talking about engagement.
Well,
get them back into that.
I have more faith in people than that. That's why we take an educational role, is because I believe when people have the full amount of information and the freedom of choice, they do, quote unquote, the right thing. They do the healthy thing or the functional thing.
Now, sorry,
go ahead,
Jim.
Steve.
Yeah.
I saw a YouTube video of you.
Yeah.
And I even put it on one of the Facebook sites that we have. You were calling Dean Heller a traitor.
Absolutely.
You want to elaborate a little bit more about that?
Dean Heller and Shelley Berkeley. Okay, here's the reality. There's going to be 3 names for United States Senate on the ballot in November. It's going to be Dean Heller for the Republicans. It's going to be Shelley Berkeley for the Democrats. It's going to be David Vanderbeek. That's it. Both of them voted for the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, so you've got 2 processes going on at the federal level. One is they break your economy. This is the story of world history in all countries. They destroy your country's economy. That's what the elite do, and they set up a police state at the same time. So Shelley Berkeley and Dean Heller are participants in that process, knowing participants. That's elitist behavior. Dean Heller is a water boy for the Republican Party at that level. He is not anybody. He's a nobody for those people. So he's just going along and doing what he's supposed to do to somehow get points or move up in the process. He's the guy that at the convention in 2008, when he told all the Ron Paul delegates to leave the convention so they could shut the doors. He helped do that so they could call a quorum and end the whole thing. So he's a real scumbag, yeah. And, if you look at Shelley Berkeley, she's a Nancy Pelosi wannabe. She's a Nancy Pelosi waiting to happen. It's just, that's the kind of, you have to stop respecting these people. And that's one of the things that I'm teaching people is you have to stop respecting the people that betray you. Why would you respect somebody? It's not like we're stupid. We can pull up the list of every senator and every representative that voted for the NDAA. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Hey, David, I'm going to give you
explain the NDAA to folks that don't.
The National Defense Authorization Act in Section 1031 is what allows this law to be applied to American citizens. So now you can be imprisoned, secretly arrested, denied a right to a trial by a jury, denied a right to an attorney, tortured by your government indefinitely. It's worse than East Germany. In East Germany, under the Stasi, they had...
But isn't that a violation of Geneva Convention, though?
Well, it's just a violation of our natural human rights, right? I mean, it's a blatant, tyrannical... It doesn't get any worse, and that's the beauty of our position is we've been saying this kind of stuff all along as constitutionalists, but now the average Joe can say, oh, the NDAA, that's pretty bad, NDA Heller. So now you go to YouTube and you type in Dean Heller's name, you'll see my video come up first referring to him as a traitor and a coward, and Shelley Berkeley too. I mean, these are horrible human beings.
But you haven't done one on Shelley Berkeley, though.
Yeah, I kind of threw her in. I'll get to her now. She goes on and on about her support for veterans. What does she know about veterans? I'm a disabled veteran. I know about veterans.
What branch?
I was in the Idaho Army National Guard, and I got detained because I wanted a medical examination. I got detained. I had to stay in a room overnight. I was this bad guy. They had the lights on all night. There was a congressional inquiry in Idaho, and I'm a smart guy, so I kept records and made people look bad and eventually won my case. But I know exactly what it's like to be a veteran, and you know what veterans are like when you go to the VA. These guys don't know how to work all the ins and outs of the system. They don't know how to represent themselves. Look, going back to veterans, we have a government that says use depleted uranium in the weapons. Then the guys come back with all the health problems, can't have children. I mean, and the government denies that any complicity in the use of depleted uranium in the weapons. Also, did you know
that happened to Stanley Gibson, who was the Gulf War veteran that
was killed
by Metro.
David, I wish you would just tell all the American people how you really feel.
Well, let me tell you about why would I waste my time?
I'm not joking with that.
But let's talk about Stanley Gibson. Look, let me tell you something. The Department of Homeland Security hired 2 men when it was formed. It hired Marcus Wolf, and it hired a guy named Petrikov. Marcus Wolf was the chief of the Stasi, and Petrikov was the head in the KGB. They brought him over here to design the DHS. DHS are the people that train your police forces now. So when you don't wonder why your police are acting like this is a police state, because they've been trained to establish a police state. That goes back to what I was saying. The elites crash your economy and set up a police state at the same time, so you cannot revolt as a people.
So So when elected to Senate, what's the first thing you're going to do to help? I mean, you can't stop everything in one bill. No. I understand that, but what's the first thing you're going to do to help reverse the trend back to Constitution? Yeah, when if I was elected, I would never make it to Washington because I would be stuck at the airport until we get the TSA out of the airports. We're going to stop the body groping, and we're going to get the scanners thrown in the junkyard. Okay, I'll be there, and I'll take as long as it takes.
What about the risk to aircraft with terrorist threats?
Well, those body scanners don't work. An engineer showed that you can hide something on your side because the screen is black. You could hide a gun. You could hide anything on the side. The scanners don't work. It's like we should go back to the old metal scanners. We should do the way it's what other countries do. Body scanners don't work for picking up. They're not going to stop terrorists. They wouldn't have stopped the underwear bomber with the underwear bomber that was done by the CIA itself. We want to talk about false flag terrorism, but anyway, that's the first thing I would get this. We could start to reverse the train of the police state. The second thing is, once I get there, we've got to really talk about how we're going to get our land back from the federal government. If I came to you and I said, "Hey, I want you to live on 10% of your resources, and I'll take the other 90." That's the story of Nevada.
Yeah.
You want to create jobs, you give the people the free market, you give them access to the resources, you get the hell out of the way. That's how a free market works. People don't believe in themselves, because they've been so alienated.
But David, it's in our state constitution. That's why the BLM owns so much land here.
Yeah, well, they own 90% of Nevada, though.
Well, it was actually in the Nevada state constitution in order to push it through so that we became a state in 1864 so our electoral votes could go to Lincoln. Congress said that you have to, all land that's unsettled right now, the United States government owns.
Pretty stupid, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, so can we reverse some of this stupidity? Yeah, I mean, we have to like, okay, are we going to stay with that, or are we going to do something different? Okay, when you've been raped enough times, gang raped by the Republicans and then the Democrats, are you going to be willing to try something different? That's what we as constitutionalists do. We don't run and hide. We're here day in and day out, year in and year out. Okay, when the people are ready, when they've suffered enough, can you get over your Stockholm syndrome? And because you keep voting and electing and worshiping your oppressors. Okay, it's that simple.
Well, David, I got to say that you talk with a lot of passion, and that's how I communicate with a lot of passion, and you sound like you're very educated and versed in your stands, and I think maybe you need to come back on the show.
Yeah. I need to tell you about my grandparents. They were in Holland when the Nazis occupied it. We can talk about gun rights and how the Dutch had no army and no fire weapons and firearms, and so we can talk about this. We can talk about a lot of things that are really important.
Could you give us your website or your contact info?
Just go to YouTube, put in David Lory, DavidLory. Just put in my name and you'll get to the website. You should donate. You should invest in good candidates. So,
well, David, I absolutely enjoyed having you on the show, and I think you're great. And I wish, I did say, how are you going to engage the people? I would say think about a little more of a PR strategy, because you're a very intelligent person, and I know I would like to see you as senator.
And that's a big jump from Assembly to U.S. Senate, because you ran for Assembly in 2010, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Well, David, thank you so much. Any last words you'd like to say?
No, I just appreciate the time being with you, and I hope that everybody will get out there and get involved.
All right. That's David Lory Vanderbeek, who is an independent American Party candidate for United States Senate, representing the state of Nevada. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. Until next week.
Views and opinions expressed on this program were those of the hosts and guests and did not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.